Welcome to the Megacast, our live local TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more information about the program and find us each and every day on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find info on all of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets every single day. And of course, find all of our full shows in each individual program on demand. As for today, we'll talk to a number of different people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. And let's get started with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top story is coming from the Associated Press via the Detroit News. As U.S. officials say Oakland County will join the city of Philadelphia, as well as other cities and communities and health departments throughout the United States, in testing wastewater for polio. This is not an uncommon practice. We've seen communities, including Oakland County, having done this over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic previously, but they're joining communities across the U.S. That have either had low polio vaccination coverage overall or places in which travelers had previously visited a New York area or certain New York communities where polio was detected earlier this year. Officials say that identifying the virus in sewage can help a city or a county accelerate their targeted vaccination campaigns. This is according to the article. This is not an uncommon practice. Again, I mentioned that because Oakland County participated in something similar during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially early on, to test wastewater and to ensure that COVID-19 was acting as the numbers were telling them it was in local communities. And this is a very common practice still for COVID-19, as all 50 states in the union continue to send their COVID-19 metrics from wastewater testing to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Also making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Mark Torregrossa at MLive. Expect very much variation in our weather here locally over the next 2 weeks across the state of Michigan in a variety of different areas as we experience some of the very common patterns of La Nina. So going to be fluctuating temperatures. We're expecting in this forecast from Mark Torregrossa at MLive, 3 periods of warm-ups, 2 shorter cold snaps, and a longer lasting cold pattern, all to set in within the next 2 weeks. And it's already underway. Of course, we had some warmer temperatures early on in this week and late last weekend, now into cooler temperatures with higher winds outside, more winds outside each and every day. And so that's part of a period that's going to last us right around through Monday. So Monday is going to be another one of those warmer periods, one of those warmer days, but it doesn't last very long as Mother Nature hits back hard the next day by going back to colder than normal temperatures. That being said, it's not as dramatic as maybe I made it sound there. In terms of those fluctuations, the temperature might change between 5 and 10 degrees between Monday and Tuesday as it goes to be colder than normal. And those temperature fluctuations continue on. You're looking at temperature changes of 5 to 10 degrees below average, not overall, but below average, as you get ready for a week of afternoons and about the 28 to 33 degree range. And that's not a record cold, but it will feel very much like winter, according to Mark Torregrossa, the author of this article. Rapid warm-ups today, Friday, and Monday are going to be driven by strong storm systems tracking just north of Michigan. With the storm path, Michigan gets the warm side of a cold front with rain showers. Behind the cold fronts will be sharply colder air and some quick snow showers, according to Torregrossa. So this is all part of La Nina, which is classified as having more rapid changes from warm to cold and back and forth over the course of a season. You can find more information about La Nina patterns and a greater definition my apologies, of that as well. From MLive, there's a connected article. In this article, go to our website to read this in full and find that connecting material from MLive that does a better job of defining La Nina than I would do for you today by visiting CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Finally, making headlines today from Susan Tompor at the Detroit Free Press. This is a time of the year that's very popular for families to invite some new four-legged members of their family into their homes and into their families. But with opportunities for bringing those pets into your home, there's also plenty of opportunities for people to take advantage of you and for scams, particularly puppy scams, to be underway and you to fall victim and possibly lose hundreds of dollars to these scams. That's exactly what happened to people like Joan Redout of Vassar, Michigan, about 15 miles away from Frankenmuth, as she was looking for a puppy, and she went to some local breeders, some accredited breeders that were looking to sell show quality purebred boxers, which was the species she was looking for, from anywhere to $1,800 to $3,000. Of course, for this individual from Vassar, that was out of her price range, and so she looked in other places to try to find a puppy, including on the web. Found another group that was selling puppies online, and their pricing was $600 for the puppy, and shipping would be $155. So the total coming out to $755 for that boxer puppy she was looking for. After going through the process, contacting these sellers, they were asking for more money here and there, including for the crate that they were going to send. They were allegedly going to send the puppy in, and before she knew it, she was potentially out of hundreds of dollars. And that's not just this particular individual from Vassar. There's plenty of other cases that have happened all across the state of Michigan. According to the Attorney General's office, since 2020, 129 of these kinds of scams have been pulled, or at least reported, in the state of Michigan. Often what happens is they will ask you for direct payments before you even have met the puppy, before you're even in line to receive one of these puppies they're allegedly breeding and allegedly selling in our local area. They will also ask for payments in unconventional ways, like you see with many other scams. These payments may be demanded through gift cards, a series of gift cards, or a certain amount on a certain kind of a gift card, whether it be Amazon or it be just a Visa debit card or something like that. Or they're going to go through payment apps, whether it be Zelle or Venmo or Cash App or some other system of that kind, where they can receive the money from you, close their account after pulling the money out, and essentially go away, sometimes without a trace to their name at all, other than going through these different companies, which can be a huge hassle for you. And the burden would be on you as well. And often in these cases, you're connecting your checking account, or you're connecting a debit card of yours that's connected to your bank account, to your checking account, to these different scams. And so at that point, it's incredibly tough and sometimes impossible to get that money reimbursed to you by your banking institution. So here are some things to look for in a puppy scam of this kind. As we said before, 129 of these in Michigan have been reported since 2020 to the Attorney General's office. Unfortunately, it's always best to be skeptical of any puppy sales that you see online, especially if you're going to places that have popped up as more popular places to look for these different opportunities, such as social media, Facebook, on Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist, or any other message board or social media you're looking for. Those are chock full of scams. The Michigan Department of the Attorney General says if you're unable to see a dog in person, see if the breeder is willing to do a video chat, or even just send you a photo or video with your name and the date written on a piece of paper right next to the puppy, which may not entirely mean that they're not scamming you. For all you know, that's their puppy and they're just using the same puppy for everybody and putting their name next to it, putting a little bit of effort into it to continue to rope you along. But it's at least something. It's a show of effort, maybe even a show of good faith. It's not 100%, but it's something. Another good place to check is on the web. Petscams.com tracks these kinds of scams and can give you some warning signs. You can maybe read some of these stories and understand what typically goes into some of these kinds of scams. Consumers can file complaints about scams to the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline, 877-908-3360, weekdays from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Eastern. And Michigan consumers who believe they've fallen victim to one of these kinds of scams, or any sort of scams, they can go to the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division online, at mi.gov/AG complaints, mi.gov/AG complaints, as well as to the Better Business Bureau, bbb.org/scam tracker, or contact the Federal Trade Commission to report these scams at 877-382-4357 or ftc.gov. All these headlines making news today on civiccentertv.com's local news page, as well as those links to COVID-19 updates and information straight from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Thursday edition of the Megacast. Up next, we'll head to the theater. I'll tell you about a production that begins this weekend at the Farmington Players. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Well, you can find more information about our program by visiting our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find links to each and every one of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets that joins us live from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, as well as on live to tape and on demand as well at civiccentertv.com/megacast. Well, at this time of the year, it's a great time to go find some activities indoors that are safe, fun, for you and the entire family, and a great place to go watch some local productions. And community theater is at the Farmington Players. You can find more information on that coming up in this interview as we speak to Cynthia Tupper and Jim Mole, director and actor in Farmington Players' upcoming production of The Games Afoot, or Homes for the Holidays, which begins this weekend. Cynthia, James, thank you both for being with us today.
Thanks,
Thank
Tyler.
you for having us.
Appreciate having you both on. Let's start with you, Cynthia. Tell us a little bit about this play and what people can expect to see when they head to the Farmington Players in early December for the opening shows.
Well, this is a really fun show for the holidays. It's pure escapism. It's not per se really a Christmas show, but it's set at Christmas time. And it's set in 1936 in the home of William Gillette, who was a real person. He was a stage actor that was very famous in his day, and he was the one that brought Sherlock Holmes into favor and wrote the first play about Sherlock Holmes with the permission of the author. And it was a huge success. And so the author, Ken Ludwig, of this show loves that time period. It's an Art Deco time period. The set is Art Deco. The costumes are very glamorous. It's all set in that glamorous time period. And a murder happens during the evening at his home on Christmas Eve, and an attempted murder had happened previously. So he's trying to solve the case, and the person, William Gillette, also is so bonded with his character of Holmes that they're almost interchangeable, and he goes back and forth between being Holmes and Gillette. And that's the part that Jim plays, which is the main role of the show.
More information can be found, including showtimes and purchasing tickets, at farmingtonplayers.org, farmingtonplayers.org. Also joining us is one of the actors from this performance. It's going to be Jim Mole with us on today's Megacast. Jim, tell us about your character and what it's been like for you to prepare for this holiday show that's also got some comedy in it.
Yeah, hi Tyler. It's my role is a great role. William Gillette, as Cynthia was saying, was a real guy and had this kind of strange alter ego with Sherlock Holmes. So the way Cynthia has staged it and has us acting it is she's brought in the transatlantic accent, which you're familiar with if you watch old movies from the 30s. So we're all striving to have that sort of an accent and that sort of presentation during the show. And again, it's a really interesting script because it goes back and forth between being a murder mystery, but also a comedy, and there's a lot of sight comedy involved. And so folks will have a really good time when they come to the theater, I think. The Farmington Barn's a wonderful place to be an actor. I've done a number of shows there, a few of them that Cynthia has directed as well. And there's 200 some odd seats in the house, and there's not a bad seat in the house. So anybody who comes will have a wonderful experience, I think.
Again, more information can be found on farmingtonplayers.org. Their opening weekend of shows begins Friday, December 2nd, and runs through Sunday, December 4th. Evening shows at 8 p.m. on that Friday the 2nd and Saturday the 3rd, matinee at 2 p.m. on Sunday the 4th. That's not their only times, though. They also will have the next weekend over, Friday the 9th of December through Sunday the 11th. Same show times on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday, 8 p.m. Sunday, 2 p.m. The next week over, it begins on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all at 8 p.m. show times on December 15th, 16th, and 17th. Again, more information can be found at farmingtonplayers.org. Cynthia, going back to you as the director of the show, having to kind of switch between that interesting dynamic of murder mystery and comedy can be a little bit of a tough change, especially a quick change for actors when those scenes go one way versus another. How do you as a director, how do you as a director help your cast prepare for those situations and craft them in a way that's entertaining and not too jarring of a transition between one setting and the other?
Well, we go back to the movies of that time, and there were a lot of screwball comedies during the 30s. And so we're using that as our inspiration to really be accurate to the time. And there's really nothing more funny than elegant people doing physical comedy. And just, you think about Cary Grant and people like that, Katharine Hepburn, they were all very elegant people, but they were doing crazy things on screen. And so Ken Ludwig just loves this time period, and he set many of his plays in this time period. So we're really trying to be true to that. And the actors just have to believe in those characters. And we've done a lot of work on the physical comedy of this, and even had someone help us because there is some interesting things that happen. I don't want to give anything away, but we have a what we call a fight choreographer that helped us with some of this stuff, because it looks pretty difficult when you're doing it, and you've got to be doing it right and safely. So this was a huge acting challenge for all the actors.
And let's follow up on that with you, Jim. Tell us about navigating that challenge from going from, as Cynthia said, more of a screwball comedy setting, very 40s movies like comedy, into a murder mystery, and then back and forth in between, all the while doing that in a stage play.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is as an actor, you don't ever play the comedy. You just play the script. And the way that Ludwig has written this is that as you play it, if you play it straight and you let the lines and the script do its work, it'll be funny. If you try to be funny, you're going to get in the way. And so as an actor, I think our challenge is to simply take the words, be convincing, and as Cynthia says, believe in the character. If it's a real person saying real words and the words are funny, the audience will laugh. If you try to get ahead of that and you try to seed laughter, it never works. So you never try to play comedy. You play it straight and let the words do their job.
That's such great advice for those that are looking to get into acting and are trying to figure out comedy, or those that, have, some comedic chops to themselves, but maybe sometimes might get in their way with a little too much improv and too much forceful comedy when they're doing these sorts of shows. We're joined by Cynthia Tupper, the director, and Jim Mull, one of the actors, from the Farmington Players production of The Games Afoot, or Homes for the Holidays, which begins December 2nd at the Farmington Players. More information and purchase tickets, farmingtonplayers.org. Before we let you two go, I'm going to give you each an opportunity to speak one more time. Cynthia, let's start with you. Why should people be interested in seeing this story and take time out of their busy schedule to go see this play as they kick off the middle part of the holiday season at the beginning of December?
Well, I think this is just perfect escape uh, entertainment, and it's everybody is busy, and this is something you can come with your family and your friends and just escape and really enjoy uh, the show because and the fun thing about it is that it's a newer show. People don't know what to expect. So there's going to be a lot of surprises, and I think that that's very rewarding for the audience to see something fresh and new that's funny and entertaining during the holidays. I think it's just like I said, it's a really fun escape with elegant costumes. The set is worth the price of admission. We've been very accurate to the Art Deco period, and I'll give a shout out to our set designer Phil Hadley, who adores this time period, and we've done a lot of special things. And there's a revolving set piece that happens in this show, so been a complicated, but it's going to be a really interesting watch for the audience. I'm sure they're going to love it.
Jim, we got about 30 seconds. Anything else you'd like to say on this show before we let you go today?
No, as Cynthia is saying, Tyler, I think we've had enough serious stuff in the world. There's a lot of stuff going on that has caused people to have to take a half step back and pause life and wait things out. So let's get back and have a nice time. The show is wonderful. It's funny. It's engaging. Folks will laugh. Folks will have a good time. And I think it's about time we all did that.
Well, we appreciate both of you being on to tell us about the show and, of course, for providing us that outlet and that brief escape from the seriousness of our world today. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler.
More information can be found on farmingtonplayers.org. That's farmingtonplayers.org. For more information, as this show begins this weekend, and certainly a lot of excitement at the Farmington Players whenever they have a new show coming in. This is a great one to kick off the holiday season, the late holiday season, as we're now in the month of December, final month of 2022. We'll take a break here on the Megacast. On the other side, of course, we are just 1 year removed from the tragic events that happened on November 30th, 2021 at Oxford High School. One of the victims' families has taken the tragedy of that day and turned it into some good that will last, keep the legacy of their loved one everlasting in the community by taking the impact that he had both in the classroom and outside the classroom and passing that impact on to other kids in the community. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Trent Myre from 42 Strong on the Megacast.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily radio and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering TV, radio, and web outlets that join us live from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, as well as live tape throughout the afternoons, weekends, and more. And find us on demand on civiccentertv.com/megacast as well. Joining us now on the program is the Director of Operations at 42 Strong. Trent Myre is the brother of the late Tate Myre, one of four students that, of course, were lost in the tragic school shooting at Oxford High School on November 30th, 2022. 42 Strong was founded as a way to continue Tate's legacy and his impact of leadership in the community. Trent, we thank you so much for joining us today to tell us more.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Tyler. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak more about 42 Strong. So for those of you who don't know about 42 Strong, we are a peer-to-peer mentorship program based in the Oxford community as of right now. When Tate was here, he had an impact on a lot of kids and he mentored a lot of people. You know, we didn't know this when he was actually doing it. So in the days after November 30th and the weeks after November 30th, we were getting stories, you know, from parents, his peers, you know, people he was mentoring about all the amazing things that he did. And so, you know, we thought there's not a better way to let his legacy live on than to keep impacting those kids and kids he even would not impact in other communities by a peer mentorship program.
So let's go talk about what exactly this peer-to-peer mentorship program is and how it has that impact that you had mentioned that Tate had and had been enacting himself so quietly, but so impactfully in the Oxford community during his life. Tell us about the peer-to-peer mentor program and how it takes what Tate had done during his time with us and expands that out to kids across the Oxford community.
Right. So I'll kind of start how exactly we formed, then I'll go into that. So Tate mentored a kid at a local gym, ETS, and he had a rough home life, rough coming up, and Tate kind of mentored him and was there for him. And his mom had experience with nonprofits. So she came to us late December of 2021 and said, I would like to have a peer mentorship program. And of course we were in on it. You know, Tate was all about that. So, you know, our mentees are 6th to 9th grade, and then our mentors are 10th to 12th grade. So the goal is really just to give these kids a friend, give them someone they can talk to, right? Because kids don't really want to talk to their parents. They don't want to talk to somebody that's older. They want to have someone that they can relate to. And that's all we're doing with 42 Strong. We're just trying to give these kids a platform, give them a friend that's 3 to 4 years apart from them that they can relate to, right? These kids are going through the same social media stuff. They're going through all the same stuff that they're going through right now. You know, parents don't exactly understand what's going on in the kids' head these days. They, you know, maybe 30 years ago, but it's not the same as it is now. So we're just giving them a friend, a peer that they can relate to and talk to.
More information can be found on 42strongtate.org, 42strongtate.org for more information, as well as how you can become a mentee or a mentor in future years. Of course, 2022, 2023, their program is full, but you can find more information there at 42strongtate.org about how you and your kids can participate in the future as well. And just going back to the origins of this, about a year ago, you mentioned some of the bits and pieces of how this peer-to-peer mentoring program came together. But for you as one of Tate's brothers and with this organization being founded by your family, as well as many of the friends of Tate that he had during his life, how did that come together into this specific organization and this specific project to continue that legacy that Tate left with us?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. You know, we didn't know exactly what we wanted, what we were going to do. All we knew was the world needs something like this. The world needs more people like Tate, right? Not Tate in specific, but the traits that he had every single day. You know, we have our 12 Tate traits. There are traits like trustworthy, accountable, selfless. You know, a lot of people are losing those quality traits in their life that help the community, help the people around them. So, it started actually as kind of a sports mentoring program. That's what we started as. But, you know, we had board meetings that would go for 4 or 5 hours in early January. And we were like, a lot of these kids that are in sports already have a structure in life. You know, they have their friends through sports and stuff. We need to reach the kids who aren't in sports, that aren't in after school clubs, right? Because those are the kids that aren't raising their hands and don't have friends, right? So, and one of the things that stuck out to us that we learned is the best part of some kids' day is, or the worst part, I'm sorry, the worst part of some kids' day is lunchtime at school. Because everybody's hanging out with their friends, but if you don't have a friend, you know, it's a very hard time for you. So, just something as simple as that. We're just trying to give these kids a friend that they can, go hang out with at lunch, right? Something as simple as that. We're just trying to make an impact, the smallest or biggest impact we can, in every kid that we can.
Joined by Trent Myre on today's edition of the Megacast, the Director of Operations at 42 Strong. You can find more information on their website, 42strongtate.org. You can also find them across social media on Twitter, 42 Strong Tate. Same goes for Facebook as well as Instagram. To find more information, keep up to date with them, and learn more about the Tate traits that Trent had just spoken to us about as well. And from the onset, Trent, it was really, I remember when this organization was founded and first hearing about it a year ago, and the initial reaction, there was a lot of excitement, and people really got involved from the jump quite significantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had an amazing outreach and support from the Oxford community, right? Obviously it hit our town hard. And Tate was a big part of that town and that school. So people really wanted to support 42 Strong. But not only has the Oxford community been supporting us, but we've had a lot of support from the whole nation. We had the Pat Tillman Foundation reach out, and they're a huge foundation, and they've kind of helped us, and they've almost mentored us kind of in this process, because we have a 7-person board, and we don't exactly know what we're doing. We're just kind of building the plane as we fly it. So, we're figuring this out on the fly. We just want to have an amazing program for these kids. So, and then we've also had a lot of other school districts that have reached out, Michigan and outside of Michigan, looking to have a program like 42 Strong. How can we replicate this? So that's what we're working on right now. And, that's the goal for 42 Strong. We want to have, we want this thing to go across the nation, because kids need friends. And, our country's, it's hungry for a program like this.
We're joined by Trent Myre from 42 Strong on today's edition of the Megacast. And Trent, just in the year that this organization has been running this peer-to-peer mentorship program and has been doing what it's been doing, we know the impact that Tate doing a lot of these things had on the Oxford community, on kids at Oxford High School and throughout other schools in the community. What has been the impact so far from the kids that have talked back to 42 Strong, or their families who have responded on what they've gotten out of this program so far in just the year that it's been operating?
Yeah, it's been amazing feedback, right? We're having, mentees that, were shy or didn't have much friends. Now we would try to pair them with a mentor that's a little more outgoing, right? So kind of that yin yang. So, we're having a lot of mentees that, parents coming out saying, my kid's a lot happier and my kid's doing better in school. And the same goes for mentors, right? The focus is obviously on the mentees. Everybody thinks what the mentee is going to get out of this program, but the mentor is getting just as much. They're having a purpose of being there for someone and doing anything that mentee would need. So yeah, and even mentors have been like, my bucket is a lot fuller now through 42 Strong, being there for my mentee.
More information can be found, as well as how you can get involved as a mentor or a mentee in the future, at 42strongtate.org. That's 42strongtate.org for more information, as well as ways that you can support the organization through their fundraisers and your own individual donations as well, and support this peer-to-peer mentorship program and other initiatives from 42 Strong now and in the future. 42strongtate.org. You can also follow them across social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 42 Strong Tate as well. Trent, you mentioned earlier on that currently this is a program that is entirely centered in the Oxford community. Any discussion or any potential in the future that this could be expanded out even further beyond the Oxford community, given that it's already having such an immense positive impact for so many individuals across the board in your community?
Yeah. So yeah, we talk about this as a family a lot. We want, not only do we want Tate's legacy to live on like throughout the country, but peer mentorship needs to be a thing throughout the country, we believe. So that is definitely a long-term goal, maybe a medium-term goal. We want to perfect what we have in Oxford right now, get all the kinks out so that when we go and give this to other people who want to start one in their community, it'll be a flawless transition. So yeah, and we're already in talks with some surrounding communities and then out-of-state communities on how we can implement this program into their community.
And for you, as one of Tate's siblings and as someone that was close with Tate and others, family, friends, others in the Oxford High School and Oxford Schools community that were close with Tate while he was with us, how has this impacted you and impacted them over this past year to see his legacy, to see his traits and the way that he worked to impact the community continue to have such a strong impact on Oxford?
This is the hardest thing I'm ever going to have to go through, right? Tate, we all love Tate, and he was kind of the cornerstone of our family. And a lot of his friend groups. He kind of was the glue that held everything together. There's stories about when his guy and girlfriend groups would be fighting, and he would just say, guys, like, this is pointless. Let's just all come together and let's just do this. So, I'm proud of the work that he put in. We didn't know all the stuff that he was doing when he was here. And I'm just beyond proud of the work that he put in and how selfless he was. And I just want to carry on that legacy.
More information can be found on 42 Strong by visiting their website, 42strongtate.org, 42strongtate.org, for information on their peer mentorship program, Tate's Traits, fundraisers, and how you can help the organization directly through your donations as well. 42strongtate.org, and you can also find them across social media at 42strongtate. Trent, before we let you go, anything else that you'd like us to know at this time or keep in mind about 42 Strong?
I would say, so we have a saying with our 12 Tate traits, go to our website or social media, pick one of those traits and just strive to get better at that trait every single day, right? If that's accountable, okay, I'm going to be accountable at school. I'm going to be accountable at work. I'm going to be accountable with my family, right? And if you do that, we can all work together to make this world a better place.
Trent, we appreciate you joining us and telling us more about 42 Strong. Thank you so much today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. 42strongtate.org is the website for more information on how you can get involved now and in the future. 42strongtate.org. We'll take a break here on the Megacast. On the other side, we continue to have a lot of discussion and a lot of controversy between Michigan and Michigan State following the incident in the tunnel during this year's rivalry game, with reaction earlier this week from Michigan State basketball coach Tom Izzo, as well as reaction to that from one of our hosts here on one of our co-flagship stations, My Michigan TV, and his reaction to those comments. I got something to say about that, and that's coming up next on the Megacast.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID. We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymitv.com.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview on demand. civiccentertv.com/megacast. And as we mentioned, My Michigan TV, one of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets that joins us 5 days a week, live and live to tape for new editions of the Megacast. But following us on My Michigan TV, our co-flagship for the Megacast alongside Civic Center TV, is Steve Lado from 11 a.m. until 12 noon every day. And earlier this week, his show caught my ear in the background here at our studio as I'm doing some post-production on one of our editions of the Megacast from earlier on this week, as he's talking about some controversial comments that were made earlier on this week and late in the weekend from Tom Izzo, the head basketball coach at my alma mater, Michigan State University, in reaction to the but the criminal charges brought upon 7 players of the 8 players that, from Michigan State's football team that were involved in what's now known as tunnelgate at Michigan Stadium after their blowout loss to the Michigan Wolverines, who are now number 2 in the country, but particularly his comments about the Big Ten's reaction this week, finally giving out its fines and its reprimands from that incident in October at Michigan Stadium. Let's first start by going through what Tom Izzo said. His comments from this, I'm going to pull these from an article by Chris Solari, a beat writer for Michigan State Sports at the Detroit Free Press. Tom Izzo made it clear he did not condone or approve of the roles of Michigan State football players in the altercation with two Michigan football players in the tunnel at Michigan Stadium. The basketball coach emphatically disagreed, however, with the Big Ten's decision to hand MSU the largest fine in conference history on Monday. Here's what Tom Izzo said, direct quote. Yeah, I'm completely upset about it. I think to get a $100,000 fine, the suspension of a player is fine, but to get a fine like that and then the other school gets reprimanded, what the hell does a reprimand mean? And closed quote. The Big Ten broke its silence on the situation several weeks after Tunnelgate occurred at Michigan Stadium, including a $100,000 fine that surpassed the $40,000 punishment levied last year to Michigan basketball head coach Juwan Howard after he struck a Wisconsin assistant coach in February, landing a punch. I guess he's got a good hook on him there. I guess he landed it pretty well. Got a suspension for it, was out for a few games to end the regular season, did not include the tournament, got a $40,000 fine for the University of Michigan from the Big Ten last year. This case in Michigan State's situation, 8 players attacking 2 Michigan players in the tunnel at Michigan Stadium. 7 of those players now under criminal charges in Washtenaw County. Only one of those 8 players that was suspended in that incident has not been charged in the incident at Michigan Stadium in Washtenaw County. Following Tunnelgate, Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker put 8 players on suspension for the final 4 games of the season. 7 of those 8 players since, my apologies, have been reinstated. Neither Michigan defensive back Jamon Green or Jaden McBurrows, the players who were seen being hit by Michigan State players in the video, were punished by either the conference or the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's office. Izzo made further comments on the incident as well, saying, quote, I am completely upset by what our players did. And Mel was too. I would think that administratively they should be upset about how the tunnel was handled and how those players ran in. And as I said before, what starts bad ends bad. And so if we are reprimanded enough, they must have found something wrong. Well, if it was managed right, there would have been no second part. I talked to anybody here, the AD, the president. I've talked to the Big Ten office. It's none of my business. It disgusts me that it happened. So make sure, make sure you don't change your little tidbits. This is an odd quote from him, but my apologies for getting mixed up on it. But it really disgusts me too, and that it wasn't handled better at the front end since they had a problem with Ohio State a year ago, Penn State this year, and we get a $100,000 fine and there's a reprimand. Well, what the hell does a reprimand mean? What does it stand for? I'm disappointed. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. Do not read that I validate anything that happened. I don't validate the 2 players that ran in there. I don't validate the guys rubbing Mel Tucker's head. I don't validate the grown-ups they had a chance to make sure the thing was secure. Grown-ups, kids are going to act differently. And maybe my own administration would be mad at me for saying this, but I'm not happy with it. I just found out about it, but it doesn't surprise me. So as I mentioned earlier on the week on the program that supersedes us, on My Michigan TV, our co-flagship Steve Lato went into this ad nauseum, blasting Tom Izzo for his comments, as well as the players involved, and rightfully so. My opinion on this, my take on this is those 8 players should absolutely face punishment, and harsh punishment in some cases, for their involvement in that incident. No matter how bad you're getting harassed by these 2 Michigan players, and how odd it is that they're running up the tunnel with their opposing team, especially during the rivalry game when tensions are always high. No matter what the situation is, you shouldn't be throwing punches. You shouldn't be ganging up on the players. You certainly shouldn't be hitting them with your helmet. That's bad. You should absolutely face punishment for that. You should absolutely face pushback for that. And they did. Mel Tucker didn't wait. he suspended those 8 players right away, including Jacoby Windman, who is arguably their best player on the defensive side of the side of the ball where they severely have lacked all season long. What more do you want from Mel Tucker? There were complaints even beyond that there weren't more harsh punishments from them, both from Michigan State fandom as well as the University of Michigan, that Mel Tucker should have sent a formal apology to Jim Harbaugh for the incident. None of that of which is necessary. The apology is, hey, I recognize my players messed up. That's on me. I'm the leader of that team. They're gone. They're suspended. They don't get to play the rest of the season. They don't get to participate in team activities, and they may not return to the team. In my opinion, those guys should be kicked off the team entirely. Say, hey, transfer portal is open. Go ahead and enter the transfer portal. You're not welcome back at Michigan State. We aren't going to do this at Michigan State, and make it clear this is not going to be acceptable. With a few minutes left, let's go on to the charges, because in this case, 7 of the 8 players were charged. 6 of those 7 were charged with misdemeanors. Kari Crump, a defensive back from Michigan State, who was the player that was allegedly swinging his helmet at Jamon Green of the University of Michigan during this incident, has been charged with a felony. Now, this is in Washtenaw County, the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office coming out with the charges. That being said, there is some conflict of interest there, in my opinion. And I use that in a very light term. I'm not making any accusations. I'm not pointing any fingers here, but considering that Washtenaw County is where Ann Arbor is, where the University of Michigan is, it's their jurisdiction. They should be putting forth the charges. But what's going on with their prosecutor there, who is associated directly with the University of Michigan, who grew up in Ann Arbor as well, and had campaigned previously on making charges that were as minimal as possible to get the message across that, hey, this is wrong. We're not going to condone this, and it should be appropriate charges, but not so much that you're going out and, maybe ruining somebody's life, when it may just be possible that, hey, they made a bad decision, a snap decision in the moment. It was wrong. They should be punished for it. In fact, in an article with MLive, while he was running for office, this is December of 2020, he was asked, do you plan to always seek the lowest possible charges in every criminal case? His reaction was, I plan to always seek the lowest appropriate criminal charge that's consistent with my belief that we should be imposing consequences no more stringent than necessary to protect the public safety. Kari Crump swung his helmet at a player. The incident was done. I don't think he's going to be going around the community swinging his football helmet at people in Ann Arbor and in Washtenaw County. He also said in this article, but to the corollary to that is that we shouldn't be stacking up charges and bringing the highest possible charge just to gain leverage in a plea bargain and just to seek the exact amount most pain the defendant can take as possible. It's not rehabilitative. Sending someone to jail or prison for longer than is necessary to ensure public safety, it severely disrupts that person's life. And this is where I'm going to stop, because I'm not going to point fingers at Eli Savin and his office for making the right decisions. These players acted out of turn. They acted wrong. They committed an act of violence, and it should absolutely be addressed. My question is, what the felony charge on Kari Crump, considering Jamon Green's injuries in that situation were not severe. He is back out on the football field. He was back on the football field, not the next week, but the week after that. Is this the right way to go about this? These are 19 and 20-year-old kids who make stupid decisions. They do things that are wrong. Maybe, just maybe, this will not go out to, in the end, be a charge of felonious assault and end up being a felony on this kid's record. I'm sure that this kid recognizes this young man. He's not a kid. He's over 18 years old. He should understand his responsibilities as an adult. But is this the right way to go about this? Unfortunately, I'd love to talk about this more. We're out of time today. Steve Lado's coming up next, and we'll have more to talk about across the state of Michigan. Not on this. This is yesterday's news at this point. We'll continue to have its own controversy going forward. But for now, this is the Megacast. That's it for our show today. We'll return with a new episode very soon.